What's up, everyone? Howler here, coach of your Delta Gligars, bringing you our team builder for week 1 of season 3 of the BBR, the Bregex Battle Royale. We are going up against 3D Arcade and his Arkansas Pigknights. You can see his team over on the right side of the screen. 3D Arcade is a new coach to the league and a new coach to the draft league scene. Not someone who has uploaded a ton of draft league content, so you are forgiven if you have not heard of him. From what I have seen on his channel, though, he does some like TCG pack openings and some Let's Plays / nuzlocks. So, and his content looks pretty high quality. So you should go over, give his channel a look, and I definitely will be going over to check out his side of our battle. So, without further ado, let's get into our team. We have the Dragapult to lead off. No surprise, like Dragapult, I was probably going to be coming to every single game. And this particular set, Physical Life Orb, just hits the majority of his team extremely, extremely hard. The two things that it doesn't really like going up against are Primarina and Bisharp. And that's exactly why I guarantee those two mons will show up to this game, because Dragapult, pretty big threat, so you got to bring mons that beat Dragapult. So Clear Body is nice here as our ability. Since we are running fully physical, we will not get intimidated by the opposing Land OT. And Land OT is not a defensive response to Dragapult. It's just going to be taking so much from a Dragon Darts. Anything that, obviously I need Primarina significantly weakened, and Bisharp as well. Like, Bisharp needs to just be gone altogether because it can Sucker Punch KOS. So yeah, can't be dealing with the Bisharp. Phantom Force, I have to be very careful about clicking. Again, it's super effective against Dusclops, Xatu, Slowking, and is a solid stab to hit the Primarina. However, since it is a 2-turn attack and I'm not running anything like a Power Herb, if Bisharp comes in on the turn that I click Phantom Force, I'm in big trouble. I basically sack my Dragapult because Bisharp will eat a Phantom Force and then move second, click Knock Off, and get rid of my Dragapult. So I have to be very careful when I click that move. Our fourth move, I didn't really think we needed anything in particular, like coverage-wise. I think our dual stabs plus U-turn for momentum are pretty solid. So I just threw on Reflect. In case Bisharp is wanting to try to Sucker Punch us, we can throw up a Reflect. And of course, since we're not clicking attacking moves, Sucker Punch will fail. We can possibly boost our defense to a point where maybe we don't die to a Bisharp Sucker Punch or a Bisharp knockoff or whatever, and we can get a little bit more damage off against it with a Dragon Darts or a U-turn or something. Or, worst case, we just throw up a last-ditch Reflect as Dragapult goes down to Bisharp, and we can get something like our Silvally in to start setting up Swords Dance. So next is going to be our Galarian Moltres. This is the best nickname I could think of for Moltres because it's kind of like it's not much of a real bird because it doesn't roost, it doesn't defog. Yeah, that's the main reason why. So this is another thing that doesn't like going up against Bisharp, and it makes me really upset that it doesn't get any fire coverage. Another reason why it's called Imposter, because it's a fiery bird that can't learn fire coverage like its Cantonian brother. It doesn't get fire moves, which sucks. However, I feel like physical sets here is actually pretty good. The majority of my offense in this game my offense in this game is pretty much entirely physical because I feel like stuff like Assault Vest Primarina / Assault Vest Goodra are pretty decent against the majority of my team, like especially assuming Moltres would come as special. However, I want to bring a physical one because Brave Bird can 2-hit KO max HP Primarina, max HP Goodra. Sucker Punch is a nice priority for the Jolteon, which I do expect to come, seeing as my ground type is non-existent until you see the Silvally that I am bringing. So once again, U-turn, dual stabs, and then Fiery Wrath is the last move. I really think that as a secondary dark type option, Fiery Wrath is the best that I can go with, even though I'm running fully physical. I do have a flinch chance against things that I outspeed. I should mention speed stat. This thing, I was just creeping a Cobalion that let's say Goodra wants to outspeed a no speed Cobalion. I really don't see any reason for him to run any more speed than that. So we are outspeeding no speed Cobalion by 2 points. And the Dragapult, we are guaranteed faster than modest Jolteon. Again, we're not faster than timid Jolteon, which could prove to be a mistake. But considering Cobalion is my second fastest Pokemon, there isn't much of a reason for him to run timid Jolteon, unless he wants to run a ton of bulk for whatever reason. But I think you just go modest for as much power as possible. Speaking of Jolteon, I am definitely expecting Quick Feet if that thing comes, so that it can actually just outspeed Dragapult, which is another reason why it would, I think, want to run modest, just to make sure that it has as much power to move before Dragapult and hit it super hard. Yeah, so this is very specially defensive. Hopefully we keep rocks off the field. The only two rockers are Bisharp, which I do not expect to carry rocks, and Lando T, which could carry rocks, but it might not. So heavy duty boots are not super important, and even if he does get rocks up, we do have the option to rapid spin them away with our Tentacruel. I ditched my long-standing nickname for Tentacruel in favor of something a little bit more creative. I didn't think that Bait had a super nice ring to it anymore, so yeah, we're changing it up here. Clear Body again is a helpful ability, because if we're switching this thing in on a Primarina, Moonblast will not drop our special attack, Psychic will not drop our special defense, that sort of thing. Mirror Coat, I think, is a superior option than Poison type Stab. Poison type Stab really is not going to be doing a lot of damage to an Assault Vest Primarina, which I think is pretty likely. I mentioned that already. So if Primarina, if it's Assault Vest, would feel relatively safe staying in on Tentacruel and just clicking Psychic, in which case Mirror Coat will blow back the Primarina. We can take special hits from Goodra as well. If Goodra wants to click Thunderbolt against us, then we can Mirror Coat that thing as well. Toxic, just to put certain bulky things on a timer, like if the Dusclops shows up, if the Vespiquen shows up, we can Toxic those. We could Toxic a Virizion as well, I guess, if that thing comes, although I don't expect Virizion to come, because I feel like I have a lot that pressures it offensively, and it doesn't have a good matchup against Dragapult, so it could still come, and I do still have some things to take it on if it does come, but I prefer that if it's switching in, it just catches Scald Burn. So yeah, we have enough speed to outspeed guaranteed Jolly Max Speed Landorus. So we can hit that thing with the Scald, as we can move before it, as long as it's not Scarfed. And yeah, I mentioned everything, really. Just switch in on some special threats, maybe get a Mirror Coat off, and that would be really awesome if I could get a Mirror Coat kill with Tentacruel week 1. Next up, Silvally Ground. I did reference this earlier. Jolteon is a big threat if I do not bring Silvally Ground. And offensively, its matchup is pretty good as well. Really, all that I need is a ground-type multi-attack and then Ice Fang. His team is quite weak to ground, like especially when you count out the Virizion that I don't expect to come. The only, like, Lando T is immune, Xatu is immune, and Vespiquen is immune, but it's a Vespiquen, so we'll see if that actually shows up. And, you know, I can still Ice Fang, Vespiquen, Xatu, and Landorus. Of course, being quad weak to Ice Fang after I set up a Swords Dance. Even after the Intimidate drop, I'll still be at +1 attack, and then Ice Fang should be a KO. while at +1 attack on the Lando T. Multi-attack's really nice because it OHKOs the Bisharp. Once we get to +2, multi-attack will be decimating Primarina, decimating Goodra. Super effective on Galarian Slowking as well. Of course, super effective on Jolteon. Parting Shot, I was originally not going to run Parting Shot. I had like Flame Charge on this, but I realized I want a bit of insurance against a Cosmic Power Xatu set. See, the one weakness of this team, at least right now, is that it really lacks a lot of immediate offensive pressure. So Cosmic Power Xatu, I think, is a pretty viable set against me for the most part. Like, if you get rid of my Moltres, then just Sword Power, Cosmic Power Roost does a lot of work. So the plan is, if I see Xatu come in, I go into the Moltres at first, and then I just U-turn out. Depending on what he does, like if he starts setting up in front of me, I can bring in my Silvally, click Parting Shot, and force it to switch out, because it's going to have Magic Bounce. The way Parting Shot interacts with Magic Bounce is that it is Bounce Back, and Xatu is the one that goes for Parting Shot against my Silvally, and Xatu switches out. So I can force it out in that way, and prevent it from just getting out of hand with Cosmic Power boosts. And then hopefully, if it's still around later in the game, I just have enough resources to deal with it. Like I have, like as long as it doesn't have an insane amount of boosts, I do have Phantom Force. Phantom Force Dragapult, even though I've said it's a 2-turn attack, so that's kind of iffy. So that's why we need the insurance against it. Tangrowth is just really good for absorbing hits from various things. I threw Assault Vest on here so I can pivot it into a Primarina, just in case, like if it's predicting Tentacruel to want to come in and click Psychic right away. I don't want Tentacruel to take that much damage if it doesn't have to. So I can pivot in the Tangrowth, eat a hit, and then just switch it out, regenerate most of that HP, bait it to go for a Moonblast as I get my Tentacruel in. Yeah, so, and then Knockoff, Knockoff is good against Galarian Slowking, which is probably one of the better switch-ins that he has to Tangrowth. We can just get rid of items in general. Getting rid of an Eviolite on Dusclops would be nice. Getting rid of Heavy Duty Boots on Vespiquen would be really nice. I did bring Rock Slide exclusively for Vespiquen if that thing wanted to show up for whatever reason. Hopefully I don't regret having Rock Slide over something like Brick Break so that I could deal 4 times super effective damage to Bisharp. However, Earthquake should 2-hit KO Bisharp, and Brick Break was not OHKOing Bisharp. I could have opted to run Focus Blast to guarantee OHKO Bisharp, but we'll see. I mean, I have a Cobalion in the back for Bisharp at all times, so I feel like Earthquake is really nice to do a ton of damage to Jolteon as well if I need this Tangrowth to take on Jolteon. And then Giga Drain, I know I've mentioned that I feel like Assault Vest Primarina would be likely, but if I'm clicking Giga Drain, it's nice because it's 100% accurate. I thought about running Power Whip, but if I missed Power Whip and didn't get very crucial damage off against Primarina or Lando T or something like that, then I feel like I would be at a big disadvantage. So I just opted for the more accurate Giga Drain. As long as Cobalion is around, I am not nearly as afraid of Bisharp as I would be otherwise. This is going to be our Stealth Rocker as well. I feel like Stealth Rocks in this matchup are going to help a lot in shipping down his team. And the hazard removal on his end is not super great. Lando T can defog. Xatu can Magic Bounce. I guess Vespiquen can probably defog as well, but other than that, the hazard removal options are not really there. So if Xatu doesn't come, I expect Stealth Rocks to stay on his side of the field for the duration of the game. Then just Dual Stabs, Iron Head, Close Combat. We have a Chople Berry to make ourselves even more safe of a switch in to Bisharp. We can also use this as a backup sponge to Virizion, I guess. If Dragapult goes down, then we should be able to take a Fighting type move from Virizion. And because we're not running a ton of speed, we're only outspeeding max speed Lando T. We should be able to hit that thing once it's dropped its defense to -1 after clicking Close Combat. Last move is Magnet Rise. I feel like Magnet Rise is extremely underutilized on Cobalion, because if you can't hit it with ground type moves, you can't hit it with much. So if I can Magnet Rise in front of a Lando T that's not Scarfed, it can't touch me. So I can just fire off attacks over and over and over again. So yeah, that's what I'm hoping will happen. I'm hoping for a good game against my man 3D Arcade, and I'm hoping to start off this season of the BBR with a W. So if you enjoyed this team builder and are looking forward to the battle tomorrow, be sure to leave a like on this video, comment down below, subscribe to the channel to keep up with all of our Draft League content, and we'll see you tomorrow for the battle.